It's about that time. Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to dinCloud and OpEx Technologies webinar, Disaster Recovery and Business Continuity in the Cloud. We're going to go ahead and get started this morning. We are thrilled to have you with us this morning for our session on BC and DR. Leading the charge this morning, we have a cloud panel. Joining us is Garrett Grajek, dinCloud CSO, Walid Elamary, dinCloud VP of Product Development, and Logan Dunn from OpEx Technologies, Solution Consultant. So for a quick audio check, Garrett, Walid, Logan, good morning.
Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Logan, we'd love to have you say a few words and welcome everyone to the session this morning.
Sure, thanks, Nancy. Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for joining and thank you guys at dinCloud for partnering with us on this webinar. We're really excited. We know you all have an amazing DR solution here, and we knew you'd be an awesome presenter to help educate our listeners here on disaster recovery in the cloud and business continuity. So we're excited that for this month in our education series, you're the ones we're working with.
All right, thank you, Logan. So as I mentioned, we're going to get started in just a moment, but first I have a few housekeeping items to cover with you. Please enter any questions you may have in the questions box in your GoToWebinar dashboard. I will relay those questions to our speaker this morning at the end of their presentation today. Also, we do send a survey out at the end of this webinar. We'd love to hear from you. Please fill it out. Let us know how we did and topics you'd like to see on future dinCloud webinars. It should come to you about 2 hours after the session concludes today. We are also recording this webinar and we'll have that available for playback by the end of this week. Recordings are posted to dincloud.com/webinars along with our upcoming webinar schedule, so I highly encourage you to check out that page. Now on the screen we have a brief agenda for today. As I mentioned, we have a full cloud security panel with us and who I just introduced, and following their presentations you'll have the opportunity to ask your questions live in our Q&A session. Again, enter those questions in the questions box and we'll get those addressed. Now, going on to the next slide, before we jump in, I'd like to give you a brief overview of dinCloud for those of you who may not be familiar with us. dinCloud is a cloud service provider that helps organizations worldwide rapidly migrate their entire IT infrastructure to the cloud. Our business provisioning includes migration of desktops, servers, storage, networking, and applications to a virtual private data center. If this webinar sparks interest for you today, please visit dincloud.com for more information and how we can add to your cloud story. So with that, I will hand the reins over to our first speaker today, Garrett Grajek. Garrett, please take it away.
Greetings. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Logan. We're going to have a great webinar today. This is a very, very timely topic. Of course, it is RSA Security Week, but what is relevant, and you'll see in my kickoff here, is business continuity disaster recovery was always cited as one of these background processes, and we generally know the reason why, but there's some facts I wanted to pass on to the team. Usually on this audience, you guys use this facts to pass it on to help get others people's interested, because we know the importance, but it's something relevant. 40% of companies that shut down for 3 days fail within 36 months. That is an absolute fact. But there's something more relevant. When we think of BCDR, historically, when I passed my first CISP like 12 years ago, that was usually considered and even written up in my old books as something as a disaster, as a natural tornado, flood, something like that. Now, as you'll see, and I'm going to set a use case here, the problems facing us are not so much natural disasters, but human disasters. Human disasters that affect both the hardware and the software. Literally everything from server failure to new upgrades or new patch releases that affect the performance of on-site. And this is where BCDR actually helps out a lot. And you'll see in the 5 scenarios me and Wally go over, you can start thinking how it addresses the different scenarios you want to address. The cost of a disaster is pretty high. These are costs per hour that you can use in your own reports and figure out which industry you're in. And these are quantifiable numbers that came from Disaster Recovery Journal. But you can see per hour of downtime can be pretty expensive for the organization, and can be, job threatening for certain people in the staff. Now, let me do one more before I hand it over to the actual solutions. One more thing that people don't realize. The new BCDR world isn't just about a disaster, just some random circumstance. It's also some malicious. Let's talk a little about the hack called CryptoLock. CryptoLock is a hack perpetuated by malicious people for the purpose of locking your data storage servers and then sending a ransom note. That's literally, there's a real good case study of the company called CodeSpaces that was held up for ransomware and refused to pay, and they had all their systems locked up, and eventually one of the factors in them going out of business. This is a very serious scenario and very relevant in 2015. That is why when people say, Garrett, are you comfortable saying you can do storage in the cloud? Not only is it a good idea, I see it as imperative to have disparate backup. That is not part of your everyday system, therefore not acceptable to attacks such as CryptoLocker. If it attacks your one frame, how is it affects the other? That is what cloud offers us. Okay, let's go into the actual product offerings and the backup and the BCDR scenarios. So for this, we will have Waleed doing all the in-depth. Waleed, how are we doing today?
Good, Garrett. Thank you guys for coming on the call today. Definitely BCDR is something that we all need to think about. So Garrett, if you can go ahead and
so
go
these are our options. We're going to talk about the cloud storage, warm site, Veeam, local appliance, put a comma, S3, and high availability. So let me kick that off and give Waleed. So let's talk about cloud storage to start with.
Cloud storage is a very simple, very popular storage solution today that most companies, most cloud service providers offer today. Compatible to S3, compatible storage. Today, dinCloud have something called D3 storage. The storage is encrypted at rest. Any client that is willing to push data through the cloud could use our D3 storage using certain tools that support S3 protocols today. The way it works is a customer on-premise could set up a VM, a virtual machine that is capturing data. That data is then pushed to D3 storage that is hosted in dinCloud, and this data is actually encrypted. The good thing about our solution, we actually do several things to mitigate disaster. Number one is we actually have 3 copies. The first 2 copies are stored on several different targets. When I say a target, I'm talking about server and disk. So the actual copy is stored on different servers, different disk volumes, so your data is encrypted and is saved and is redundant. Then the last, the third backup mechanism is we actually take your data and we also sync it to a different data center that is hosted in another place. That way, if the first 2 copies are having issues or they're having some kind of hack or anything, at least you still have a backup copy that is stored in a different place. So this is what we call a DS3 storage backup. It's encrypted at rest, so your data is encrypted. You're the only one who have the keys, and we don't have the keys. You manage it, and it's pretty cool how it works. So let's go to the next slide.
Right, the warm site storage.
Warm site storage, it provides you capabilities where you can actually duplicate and replicate your existing infrastructure today. And when I say duplicate and replicate, it means you can actually have servers, relevant servers, important servers such as firewall, VPN. These servers are hosted in dinCloud. They're on standby. If there's an issue with your primary site, then it would fall over to the dinCloud infrastructure. There's several ways that we do that. Again, we stick with the 3 copy mechanisms of your actual data and 1 backup copy that is replicated to a different data center. Everything is stored in a virtual private cloud, if you will, where you have your storage and servers and desktop all hosted inside your virtual private cloud. but it's also synced from your on-premise solution to the cloud. So all your data is synchronized, and if there's an issue on your on-premise, you can always fail over to the second option here that we're showing. The cool thing about this is you're hosted inside of a virtual private cloud, which means that you can create your own subnets, you can create your own identity, if you will. No one has access to it except you.
It's like a shrink wrap office ready to go. Nice.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's talk about Veeam for a second.
Several tools. The most popular one, we encourage people to use Veeam services. Veeam allows you to do several things. Number one, it allows you to copy data, encrypted data to dinCloud. It also allows you to use our DS3 offering, but it also offers something that is really cool. You can build an on-premise solution that is run VMware or whatever hypervisor that you're interested in using, and you're copying the bits to the dinCloud infrastructure. What happens is it's any changes that happen on-premise is automatically the Delta files is also pushed to dinCloud. If there is a disaster, what Veeam does, it automatically fails over your entire enterprise. And I'm talking about IP addresses, I'm talking about storage, I'm talking about virtual machines, I'm talking about firewall, BGP networking if you have that in place. Veeam will automatically fail over, including DNS as well. So if you have an application that is dependent on DNS, Veeam will also fail that over. It is going to accelerate the process of data push to dinCloud. And once Veeam detects there's an outage, it would automatically fail over all these components as if you're still working with your current applications. So Veeam is a really good product. It does support our DS3 product out of the box, so you're able to instantly turn it on and go, plug and play. You're ready to go.
That's a good tie into the next thing, the other S3 products, S3 compatible products.
We have versus other S3 compatible product, you can use QNAP, SteelStore. These are 100% compatible with S3 object-oriented protocols, which we support today. This allows you to instantly, create an iSCSI target where you can actually connect your data and replicate your data. You can use this as a backup solution, just if that's what you want to do, or you can also just replicate everything to the specific protocol. The other thing too, our internet pipe is about 10 gigs, so it's a lot of bandwidth for you guys to use and push your data. There's no transfer fees, which it's a big differentiation between us and other cloud provider. If you're pushing terabytes and terabytes, petabytes and petabytes of data, the costs continue to add up, and we don't charge you for that out of the box.
Perfect. Okay, and lastly, let's talk about kind of like the one, but a full high availability hot failover.
A full high availability full failover, if you have servers, desktop, and storage, again, you can use the Veeam product or whatever product that you have that supports this kind of scenario. Connect it directly to our dinCloud fabric. Once there's an outage or there's a disaster, again, it automatically fails over your desktop servers and storage immediately, DNS included, and your BGP network. So this is all automated 100%.
Yeah, and we have a white paper on this that goes in detail. So let me just add right here, security. What is relevant, all these architectures you see, we have you the customer, obtain a very secure, right here, VPC dedicated to your data and divided out so others cannot access, both internally and externally. That's your data, etc. So that's how we built this out. We have, of course, got our tier 3 data centers with guards and man traps, a set of biometric cages, the whole 9 yards. But what's really relevant is what we've done internally. We've done a lot of efforts on both seen and unseen and mitigating any threats to our environments. We are using proactive tools like ThreatStop for not only malware and bot detection, but also reputation IP, which is basically the big hit of the security world now. And of course, having all access is two-factor, separated private clouds, IPS, regular scans of all the environments, ours, and we could do yours as well, and AV set up on all the servers. all managed through a tool, which an orchestration tool which we developed to ensure that we do not have any flaws or bugs or vulnerabilities, which right now, let's have Waleed show everyone. Let me make you presenter. And you can show how our orchestration tool for storage and servers and desktops. Waleed, are you on mute?
Audio, no, it looks like you're there you go.
There you go, no worries.
No problem. So we have several categories today that you can use out of the box through our DIN Manage portal through shop.dincloud.com. Once you register online, you have an account. This account is also secured by multi-factor authentication, where you actually log on with a username and a password and a PIN code that is received on your phone. So security is very important to us. Our products today ranging from Windows servers to hosted virtual desktop. We have several flavors of this, which I will show you. The Linux servers, of course, CentOS, Ubuntu, Debian, all these wonderful different distribution. You can also host your DNS with us if you like, public DNS or internal DNS, however you want to host it. And most importantly is the D3 storage product. This is the main product that you would use to actually build a DR solution. So let's go ahead and go through the actual portal itself. If you click on My Cloud right here, there's different criteria. You can go to My Dashboard, My HVDs. These are your desktops, my servers. So let's click on My Dashboard. From here, you can pretty much manage your entire infrastructure from one single pane of glass. You can manage your desktop. We have several desktops today. One is a browser-based that you can use on a Chromebook or you can use to a browser. The other one is a native application that we install. It's called dinHVD. For if you have multi-monitors or any of that stuff, you can use the dinHVD product. Then the servers, we have Linux and Windows. The MyDprovision, these are machines that you no longer need. You deleted them off the system. We still keep them for about 15 days just in case you change your mind and you want to use them again. My Security, this allows you to manage your virtual private firewall inside your virtual private data center. My Tools, these are several tools that we have. It's an Active Directory tools which allows you to join these desktops to a specific domain of your choice. Then we have, last but not least, is the D3 storage. It's very simple to actually place an order through the system, and we'll try to stay as simple as possible. So if you're interested in a Windows server, you go to a server, you pick either a 2012 server or a 2008. You click on order. You click on the amount of RAM you want, the amount of CPU. You add it to cart. Then at that point, you can choose a different data center. Today we have two different regions. One is a U.S. Central region and the U.S. West. Both these regions are synced, specifically with the DR plan that we just showed you. The other product that, if I go back to, is place an order. We also have the desktops. We have several flavors. We have a Web HVD, which 100% browser-based desktop. We have different flavors of it, some with Office, some without Microsoft Office pre-installed on it and ready to go out of the box. Then we also have a dinHVD. dinHVD, if you're interested in using up to 4 monitors as a virtual desktop solution, you can use this product. The cool thing is you can customize it. You can add as many CPU and memory as you want and storage for the C drive. Then the product that would most interest you if you're thinking about DR is obviously going to be our D3 product, which is right here. The way these 3 products work, number one is you're going to have an S3 protocol compatible product that is ready out of the box, so you can point to us and start backing up your data. Very simple to actually create a backup solution. All you have to do is just create a bucket from here. You give it a bucket name, say, you know, backup my East Coast, you know, data center or whatever. Then you can choose the region that you want to use. We have US West, US Central. You create it. Once it's done, then you're automatically going to get an email with your encryption and security keys. These keys are required for you to actually start pushing data to the cloud. So this is our DS3 product. If you lose your keys, you can always generate them from here, or you can delete the bucket if you no longer want to use this. This product is measured by the hourly basis, and our prices, it's actually very competitive with the current backup solutions that we have. Like I said, the cool thing about this, you can use a Veeam product to actually migrate your live virtual machines or your files, your bits, whatever you want to use into here. You have 3 copies. 2 copies is saved on different hardware, different disk. It's being encrypted at rest. Then also we push it to another data center such as US West or US East. So it's the opposite of what you originally ordered. So this is a solution that you will start building with Veeam or any other product that you want. Let's go a little bit about the firewalls. If you want to set up a hot solution, what you want to do first of all is you can come here. This is, if you will, this is an actual 100% firewall. It's ready to go. You can do NAT statements. You can open up ports. You can buy public IP addresses. You can set up site-to-site VPN. So if you are building a disaster recovery solution, what you want to do, you want to establish communication between us and your on-premise solution. This is the way you do it. You go here, add a VPN. We ask you several questions, your VPN peers, the destination, the IP address that is going to be communicated and encrypting the crypto, appreciate key password. Once you fill this form out and you submit, at that point your VPN is established on our end. Then all you have to do is configure on your end. At this point, you're able to go ahead and start placing orders. If you want to build an Active Directory replica of your servers in the data center, you can come here, place a Windows Server order, and you can start, replicating your directory database, Active Directory database into the cloud. That way you have a backup. You can start moving your data over the VPN. And keep in mind, everything is encrypted through the VPN tunnel. It's also encrypted as a storage level as well. So that's pretty much in a nutshell. The tool is very easy to use. We encourage you to go to shop.dinCloud.com and register for a free account so you can try it out and give us some feedback. So I'll hand it over to Garrett.
Hey, great job there, Wally. And yes, that's the console that manages all of your services, all your resources up in our cloud, all your desktops, all your storage, and all your servers. Well done. Okay. Logan, why don't you take us home and help us understand how customers can use this.
Yeah, we can just get that, all right. And you can just go to the next slide there.
Sure, right here. Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. And yeah, and this really is such an awesome portal, you guys. It's so much more user-friendly than some of the others out there. I'm really glad we were able to present it. And if anybody's watching this and you're thinking, I still don't understand this, I'm still a little hesitant on what I should do here, not to worry. That's where OpEx comes in. So a quick background on OpEx Technologies. We are one of dinCloud's strategic partners. We've been around for about 12 years, and we are a consultative brokerage and advisory firm, which means we represent the client's technology needs. So a lot of people, when we tell them our story, haven't heard of this business model, and so we like to use the analogy of a commercial real estate broker. We're just like broker for your real estate, except we provide the same service for your technology, for your business. So just like they're focused on the big picture, they're an advocate for when you're dealing with the property owners. We are focused on the big picture for your technology needs, and we're an advocate for our clients when we coordinate the relationship with the several providers who you're considering for your solution. So a real estate broker knows the market, knows the landlords, knows the rates, knows the contract terms, and again, we do the same thing for technology. We audit what you're doing today. We help discover and help implement what you're going to be doing tomorrow. All the while, we're ensuring you're looking at the best providers, the best services, and best pricing for your needs. So we save you time and resources up front doing the discovery work for you, and we're going to gather data from you and the providers to make sure we're considering all variables and base our recommendation off of this data. And that's to make sure our strategy is built for the long run. So, and really, most of our clients are return customers. So we believe it's because we're providing them with good long-term strategies. And at the end of the day, when we give you our recommendations, you don't even have to go with it. Our goal here is to make your life simpler. We're experts, so you don't have to be. And if you are an expert, then we provide a second layer of confidence in whatever decision you end up making. So you can go on to the next slide there. And so what's unique about us is that we're not just focused on network. We're not just focused on the cloud. We have a very experienced team, all bringing different backgrounds to the table. And if you look at our solution stack here, you don't have to go into too much detail. We have experience and expertise in a lot of areas. I mean, just to name some of the highlights, there's voice over IP, private line, cloud storage, security, email, mobile desktop, co-location, disaster recovery, and the list goes on. So I wanted to show this because it helps you visualize all the areas we consider when building a strategy and considering solutions to make sure we don't leave any stone unturned when vetting your options. And so if anybody wants to learn more, look at the solution stack closer, I'm happy to send you a digital copy. If you have any questions about our business model, I'm also happy to answer them as well. And at this point, I'll turn it back over to dinCloud. Thanks, guys. I don't know if anybody's speaking, but they might be muted.
My bad. Thanks, Logan.
No worries.
Yes, thank you. Yes, that does wrap it up, Logan. As you said, this is bringing in all the tools that the enterprise needs. We are performing and offering the cloud services for storage, desktop, and servers all together. And together we can meet not only your BCDR needs, but also your other IT and cloud needs. So Nancy, how do we do, and do we have some questions?
Absolutely. So as you said, that wraps it up, and we will now move into the Q&A portion of our session. First of all, I would like to thank our speakers today, of course, Logan Dunn, Garrett Grajek, and Waleed Elamary. So if you have any questions, please enter those now in the questions box. We will get those addressed now. So one question that's come through, will this deck be available? Yes, absolutely. We can send that out to you. We have a couple follow-up items that we'll share with you after the webinar. We'll send you a survey. For those that are interested, there is a recording available as well. So we can absolutely provide that. Next question. What does dinCloud do to help meet healthcare regulations of data like HIPAA, for example?
Exactly. So that's, specific, and everyone cares about their own world. That's someone from healthcare. That's what's awesome about the dinCloud VPC system. We've set it up that your data, your servers, and your desktops all can meet relevant regulations. We have our own scanning tools that we can share with you and help you meet whatever compliance you are. HIPAA, of course, for the healthcare, but PCI DSS for our friends in the retail business, or FFIC, etc. Because we have the tools to help you meet those and can share the scans and the vulnerability assessments with you and help you meet your compliance. Yes.
Thank you, Garrett. We'll move on to the next question. You mentioned desktops as business continuity / disaster recovery. Can you explain that a little? What does that mean exactly?
Waleed, do you want to take that one, given you the desktop expert?
Right. It's actually it's a really good question. Most companies today, if there's a disaster, the first thing that goes out is connectivity, data, applications are no longer being accessed, and so forth. If you have a replica of your actual applications that are on standby, and also your desktop have your applications that you normally use, you can build a desktop continuity disaster plan by spinning up desktops in the dinCloud infrastructure with your own image, your own golden image that has your pre-installed application that you would normally use in your enterprise today. And once there's a disaster, you can instantly tell all your users, go ahead and log on to this virtual desktop, and from there they can continue work as usual till the disaster is resolved. So desktop for disasters is actually huge. We have several big customers today in the financial world that actually use it like that. If there's an outage, they tell their users go ahead and log on to the dinCloud hosted virtual desktop. They continue as business as usual, and they're back to go.
All right, thank you for that, Waleed. Now we'll tackle the next question. And this one goes to OpEx. Can you help me understand the data migration for my servers and storage?
Sure, not a problem. I'll just do a pretty basic overview of it. So for a data migration procedure, the data on the old system is essentially just mapped to the new system. There are three basic steps: the extraction, the transformation, and then the loading of the data. So the data is extracted from the old server or read from the old system and transformed to comply with the formatting and requirements of the new server. Usually it's going to be a more modern server, so that has to happen. And then the last step is data loading, when the data is written to the new system. And at this point, you can verify that the data is transferred successfully by running both the old and new systems together to see if there are any discrepancies between the two. And a really good point to point out about this is that not all providers help out with this process, especially when you're dealing with larger providers. And they don't always make this clear from the start. So especially with larger providers, they tend to require that you either administer this yourself or find your own third party that you're going to have to pay for to do this for you. And that's another reason why we love dinCloud. It's especially helpful with some of the smaller and medium-sized businesses and some large businesses who don't have the expertise or the time to commit to a migration. So we're big fans of that aspect of dinCloud as well.
All right, thank you for that, Logan. Next question is Canada on the roadmap for a data center? I would imagine that would probably be directed to Waleed.
Absolutely. We're looking at Canada regions to identify places for data centers. We're also looking at Asia Pacifics as well for data centers. But the answer is yes. We're working on it. We have partnered with Equinix, the biggest data center provider in the world. We're looking at connectivity that would best suit our customers. We're looking at security. We're looking at disaster availability and so forth. So definitely we're looking at that. I don't have a specific time frame just yet, but internally we've been reviewing that very, very close, and hopefully very shortly we'll be making a decision on where we're going to spin up. We have a lot of customers who are requesting Asia Pacific regions to be spin up. We also have some North American regions, especially in the financial sectors. So it's a very good question, and we are doing that.
Thank you. Next question, do you work with Net Backup?
Yes, absolutely. We work with Net Backup. Like I said, a lot of different software publishers today are actually incorporating the S3 protocols, and I believe Net Backup is one of them. So you can instantly, point Net Backup with a URL to our DS3 solution, and you can start pushing data and start planning your DR strategy immediately.
Okay. And how is the product sold, and can I purchase from my preferred?
We would coordinate the relationship with, like, say, dinCloud, and you'd work directly with the team, but you certainly can work with a reseller who partners with dinCloud. I'm not sure exactly who all you all work with, but yeah, we can definitely help out with that.
Okay, and we can take that offline as well. You'll notice on the screen we have sales@dincloud.com, so we can address more specifically what that would entail. Okay, so last call for any questions. If you have any additional questions, please enter those in the questions box. In the meantime, I'll wrap up with a few pending housekeeping items. Again, thanks to our speakers, Garrett Grajak, Logan Dunn, and Waleed Elamary, and thanks to you all for joining us today. Please remember to fill out our survey, which will come to you a couple hours after we conclude, and check out dincloud.com/webinars for on-demand recordings if there's anything that you want to go back and reference, as well as our upcoming webinar schedule. We do hope to see you on a future session. So I'm not seeing any additional questions, so we'll go ahead and wrap. Thanks again for joining us, and we do hope to see you again on a future webinar. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Good stuff.